Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. What is my message today? My message today is about Guest Family, guestfamily.com. This is starting most likely in the next few days that we're going to do a special website but attached to our guest.com, where you will find guestfamily.com. And because that word comes constantly, everywhere, all the time, around us, around me, around the people who work at Guess for so long, around the models, around the photographers, around the customers, it's everywhere that I hear always, this is a family, this company. It's not just a brand, it's a family. And I thought maybe, you know what, I think it would be the time to share stories, and we start somewhere. We have to start somewhere about the story, because this is 40 years this year. 1981 Guess started. This is 40 years ago. And in 40 years you can create more than one family, but we have one. And you go anywhere around the world of Guess, you find one family. So I want to share with you some stories, not about just me or Guess, but people who made Guess, people who are part of Guess. And I think, most important, people who spend a good part of their life here, like people who have been working here for 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, 35 years, and they're still here. Yes, you hear correctly, 35 years, and they're still here. Why? The first question would be why? Well, clearly because they find a home. But most importantly, it's not about the job, because you can find a job if you're good, if you're competent, if you're a hard worker, you can find a job anywhere. But they find a family, and they find friends, and they made friends. And these people will be part of Guess in Los Angeles, in Florence, in New York, in Lugano, because Lugano is a big center of everything now together for Guess, in Paris, in Barcelona, everywhere where we are as a big office, people find a family. And they have a job, but the word family becomes more important for them, because when they go in the morning to work, they find their family. And they can be a co-worker of finance, a co-worker of design, a co-worker in merchandising, a co-worker in visual, a co-worker, but they are one. And this is what is so unusual. So I thought that what makes more sense than to really express and share what is a Guess family? Why is it called the Guess family? Because we did many interviews, the last year and a half of models. And the reason we collect all these models interviews is about the 40 years coming up now. And each time, the common thread of different cities, different regions, different countries, each model were coming up each time with the same word. I feel that I'm part of a Guess family. And it's eye-opening, because they are not really working day in, day out in Guess, but they feel they are, because the minute they integrate working with us, they feel part of a Guess family. And that is very unique. I think I don't know that many companies who has that. And I think to share all that is a natural to say and get to know who we are when you are from outside, and say, wow, that's unusual and that's an incredible story, but not by me, by the people who share these stories. So when you log in that guestfamily.com, you will have different menu. You want to see a story of people who work here at Guess in Los Angeles, we put Guess California. And it will be like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years story. You want to see just the models. We will have models, Europe models America. We will have people in design, Europe, we have America. We can structure that, and we will continue to add stories. I will put some videos of my brother Maurice, who built Guess literally with me and my other brothers, George and Armand, but they left a long time ago. It's really Maurice and me the last 30 years. And then, I mean, it's a fascinating story when you see from outside, but when you're inside, you don't realize, because you're inside every day, so it's normal, so it's no big deal for me. But from outside, everybody say, wow, this is a very, very unique story here. And that's what encourages us to say, we need to share that of people who care for the brand, because the brand is more than a brand. It's a story of a family who create a brand. So I'm going to share a few things with you.
Guess has worked with many iconic models during the last 40 years. Do you think that modeling has changed a lot during this time?
Yes. I think that if you go back to the time I started in the Guess advertising, Guess Image, which is 1982, you had only one channel to find model, which was agencies. A talent agency, model agency, actresses, actors, and that was the only way to find. The last 7 years, which I explained before on my Instagram story, is the world of modeling has changed completely. I mean, it's not the world of model. The world of everything has changed because of Instagram. And it continues to change. Model agencies continue to exist, but a lot of them are not relevant, to the point that many new talent like to work independently, alone, and they do totally fine to build up their own image and their own Instagram followers by dozens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and sometimes millions, without the help of anybody, which is kind of incredible, because it would have been unthinkable to do that 10 years ago. So the world has changed drastically. Of course, the classic agencies exist, like the classic magazine exists, like they will always exist, but things have changed. And you have to adapt to that. And as I mentioned before, I find so many models in Instagram, I find so many photographers, I find some architects, I find some sculptors, I find some makeup artists, hairstylists, fashion stylists. I find so many things which never were available before, never. It's a new world. I'm not in a world yet on TikTok and Telegram and Snapchat. It's not my world. But on Instagram, I'm fascinated because there's so much.